So Harley Quinn is back on the DC Universe app this week with a brand new episode entitled So You Need a Crew. I'm Cape Joel, and by now you should know the score. This is my video series where I give my thoughts on the episode that was and shout out any fun comic book Easter eggs I can find, and there was quite a few this time. Now as we join the episode, Harley is still hard at work trying to build a name for herself in the supervillain underworld. She sets her sights high, wanting to steal a Russian warhead, one that just so happens to be guarded by Cold War era Batman foe, the KG Beast. Admittedly, the show doesn't do much of a new comedy take on this guy, but I can't lie, I laugh whenever I think of KG Beast because his name is KG Beast. Harley's plan is ultimately foiled by the appearance of the Joker, but this run-in does start to get her thinking. The Joker has things easy due in no small part to the fact that he has a very sizable crew of loyal henchmen. In fact, all of the biggest bad guys do, and if Harley wants to get on their level, she's gonna need a crew of her own. For help with recruiting, she turns to Underworld Talent Incorporated, or UTI for short, which, yes, shares the exact same initials as urinary tract infection. Text gags don't get near as much love, which is unfortunate because this was fun. Of course, once the suits realize that Harley is now a solo act free from the Joker, they don't want to touch her. In fact, no one seems to want to work with Harley. She's on the ass end of the villain totem pole. Even losers like Kite Men and madmen like Felix Faust are doing better in the recruitment department. Hopeless, Harley signs up for a villain self-help seminar hosted by Maxie Zeus, a crazy man who thinks he's an actual Greek god, here voiced by Mad TV comedy legend Will Sasso. This proves to be yet another dead end. Maxie is a massive creep, and the whole supervillain deck seems to be stacked against Harley no matter what she does. Although as best friend Poison Ivy tells Harley what she's going through right now isn't nearly as unique as she might think. This all plays into the much bigger idea expressed by the episode about how the world of supervillainy, much like other real-world industries, has a glass ceiling, and women can only go so far so long as they don't rock the boat. This trend is personified by one villain called the Queen of Fables, hilariously voiced by Wanda Sykes. A real comic book deep cut, the Queen was actually a JLA villainess created by Gail Simone and Mark Waid. The character is making its animation debut here and now, though Simone would often mention in interviews that had she had a chance to write another episode of Justice League Unlimited, she wanted to use the Queen of Fables as the villain. The Queen of Fable tells Harley that she had once actually managed to take over all of Gotham City, but in doing so caught the ire of the Justice League, who punished her very harshly, imprisoning her in a book. A punishment she felt was wildly unfair given all the male supervillains who are given slaps on the wrist for equally flying as close to the sun. With no real prospects left for her crew, Harley thinks that maybe she should think outside the box, and if no one wants her, she'll recruit other bad guys no one else wants to deal with, like Dr. Psycho, a wonderfully weird Golden Age Wonder Woman villain voiced by Arrested Development's Tony Hale. And why yes, before you even have to ask, he was a card-carrying misogynist in the comics too, pretty much from day one. Even Orange is the New Black poked fun at that fact. Psycho, as we meet him in the show, has shocked the world when he dropped a hard C-bomb during a fight with Wonder Woman, and he's only been making it worse, while he even got embarrassed on TV and kicked out of the Legion of Doom. In a nice bit of canon too, they show that he's married to Gigantic here, another Wonder Woman villain who in the comics only has her powers to be giant because of Dr. Psycho. Rounding out Harley's new team of misfit villains is Clayface, Basil Karlo, a man more interested in acting than he actually is in committing crimes. It's funny that Alan Tudyk voices him as well as the Joker, proof that when you do an animated show you should really try and get great actors who can do double, triple, even quadruple duty. I like to think of it as the Hank Azaria effect. The big finale involves Harley's newly christened team taking the fight to Maxie as Zeus and getting a little payback for his bad behavior earlier. Heck, they even pay off the long-running gag for episode 1 wherein Harley wanted Gotham to name a highway after her, if you can believe it. And so that was So You Need a Crew, and overall I enjoyed it. I don't know if there was as many laughs per second as the first 2 episodes, but that's not to say they didn't do some heavy lifting here. We meet a ton of new characters who are going to stick around with great voices behind them. We get some more important lore and backstory on how supervillainy works in this universe. There's also a fun and funny undercurrent beginning to form episode to episode, wherein Harley talks so much about how she's free from the Joker and doing her own thing, yet she still manages to see the Joker pretty much every week and is even now using his own tactics by building a crew of her own. It's both funny and an understated little character picture that they paint for Harley. I like it. And so there you go, everyone. That'll do it for me in another episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you join me next week where we can do it all over again. Until then, I've been Cape Joel. Bye-bye.